like to introduce Deb from the United States, who has several autoimmune conditions. Welcome, Deb.
Thank you. Nice to be with you.
Thank you. Could you tell us what conditions you actually have?
I have Hashimoto's, thyroid disease, Celiac disease, and Vitiligo.
Mm-hmm. And when did you first start noticing symptoms of these conditions?
The Hashimoto's, I started noticing symptoms in about 2001.
Mm-hmm.
It took me till 2003 to get a proper diagnosis. Before that, they diagnosed me with fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome and Epstein-Barr. I don't even remember all this. But that was when the internet really first came out, and I started doing some research. And lo and behold, my symptoms sounded more like thyroid disease to me. And I was seeing a rheumatologist at that time, and he was like throwing up his hands and said, I don't know, you don't have rheumatoid arthritis, but you've probably got fibromyalgia, But I said, could this possibly have anything to do with my thyroid? And he slammed his folder down and said, what do you mean? Have you been diagnosed with thyroid? I said, no, but I do have all the symptoms of it. And so right away he ordered the antibodies test, called me back at work the following Monday and said, get into an endo tomorrow because my antibodies were so high. None of the previous doctors had ever checked my antibodies.
Okay. So what happened then?
Well, then as soon as I started treatment, I started feeling better. With thyroid replacement hormone. I went on Armour Thyroid. I found a doc, because I've been doing research, I found a doctor who about 80 years old and really knew his Armour. He knew how to prescribe it before it came out, so I lucked out that way.
Mm-hmm. So what about your other conditions? When did they become apparent?
The celiac disease, I believe it was 2008 I was diagnosed with that.
Mm-hmm.
I had always been a high-protein, low-carb eater. I think I instinctually knew that I had it. But I went into that same endo and asked for the test, and it came back negative. And I said, well, just how reliable is this test? Because I just knew I had it. And it said I was losing a lot of weight, and that shouldn't be. Because I wasn't over-medicated on my thyroid replacement. And I didn't really have any stomach issues or anything. But like I said, I didn't eat a lot of gluten anyway. But, it's hidden in a lot of places. So, anyway, he said the test is very reliable, very reliable. So, came back home, went back online, started researching, well, maybe not. Maybe it's not so reliable.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got an appointment with an alternative type doc who actually prescribes LDN, too. And he did Montero Labs, is the company it's called, and he did the DNA testing and a stool sample test. The DNA checks your genes to see if you have the genes for it, Mm-hmm. The stool sample shows if you're reacting to it, like losing a lot of nutrients, and that's why I was losing weight. Mm-hmm. I came back, there's two genes responsible for celiac, and I had both of them. And the stool sample showed that, I wasn't absorbing any protein or nutrients. And I took that test back to my doctor, back to my endo, And he was like blown away. And I said, so I don't think that blood work is all that reliable. And from then on, he now tests all his thyroid patients with the DNA in the stool sample, and he said 9 out of 10 of them have had it.
Well.
So I honestly think the celiac came on first and triggered the hashies, but that's just my personal opinion. Yeah.
So what happened then, health-wise?
After I went gluten-free, it was just like, I thought I felt pretty good, but within 3 days of going gluten-free, completely gluten-free, it's just like a fog had been lifted from me, from my, what they call it, brain fog, and I didn't even realize that I had it. Just like the world was a little brighter, and there was a lot more with it, and like I said, I was totally shocked, because I couldn't believe it happened that fast, for one thing. But I've talked to a lot of other people that have the same results. Usually within a few days of getting it out of your system, you're all right. And believe me, I can tell when I get some, if I go out to a restaurant and accidentally, or if my husband accidentally cross-contaminates something, that's probably the worst thing. I'm sick. It's like I have the flu for 3 days.
Really?
So, yeah.
So, was everything then sort of pretty stable?
Yeah. I've been on the LDN since 2008, I guess. Started right at the same time I went gluten-free.
Okay.
And so I don't know.
How did you find the LDN?
Researching on the internet. My favorite pastime.
And was it easy to obtain a prescription?
Yes, because I was seeing an alternative doctor. And it was Jeffrey Dash, and he's he's pretty well known.
Yes.
The first thing he asked me was if I had any Irish blood in me, which I thought was when I told him about the celiac thing. And I thought that was kind of a weird question. But apparently a lot of people, and then he said, from Western Ireland? And I'm going, well, yeah, my grandmother. She's from the outside, and from Western Ireland. And he said, it's amazing how many people from Ireland, Western Ireland, have it.
Amazing. So when you started LDN, did you notice any introductory side effects?
Oh, yeah. Side effects? No, I had no side effects from taking LDN, except for to call any. I don't even think I had any symptoms, to tell you the truth, because I had gone off the gluten and my thyroid issues had the only symptom I had was that you have to watch it really carefully, your thyroid, when you're taking LDN. He checks my blood like every 6 weeks, and we'd be amazed every time my blood work would come back. My numbers had gone, my hormone numbers had gone up, my antibodies had gone down, to where every time I go in, I'd have to reduce my thyroid to where it was less. I ended up at less than half of what I was taking. So you have to. So Hashimoto's patients or Graves' disease patients have to be really careful because LDN works really fast, and they really need to either work with a doctor or an online lab where they can check it every 6 weeks, or you're going to go hyper. And that's no fun either.
So what would you say LDN has done for you?
Well, the main thing I think is that it's reduced. I'm on barely. I take Cytomel now because I had a reverse T3 issue, but that's another thing. But I only take like 25 micrograms of T3 a day. That's it. I know there was some damage done to my thyroid when it was being attacked for so long and not treated for so long. So that's probably as good as I'm going to get on it, but I'll take it.
So if you had to sum up LDN in your opinion, what would you say?
wonderful. I think it's a miracle. I had, before I knew about LDN, I had two sisters who were quite a bit older than me. There's a lot of autoimmune issues in our family. One of them was the longest living type 1 diabetic known of in the world. And my other sister had rheumatoid arthritis. And my only regret is that I couldn't have helped them, you know, because I found out about it too late. So,
What would you like to say to other people who are contemplating trying LDN?
just do it. It can't hurt. It can only help. You know, in that low of dose, it's not going to hurt you. Just go for it. Keep an open mind and just do it.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Well, let's see. You wanted to know what my symptoms were before